It's very rare for me to see anyone mention Infinite as their favorite Sonic villain, let alone saying that they even like Sonic Forces, arguably the worst game in the series. The game was too short, the bosses didn't feel cool to fight, and this thing should be illegal. I had hopes for Infinite. I thought he'd be a cool villain to share the spotlight with Metal Sonic and Chaos, but he ended up in the same pile of trash that Zavok is in, so I decided I needed to fix that. So before we start hammering what looks like if Mephiles tried to use beauty products, let's learn his actual story first. Infinite's real name is unknown. All I found online that some called him Zero based on some concept design or something. Before he became Infinite, he was a mercenary and the captain of the Jackal Squad. And for how dumb he is, he ordered his squad to infiltrate one of Eggman's labs. And that was the lab where Eggman found the Phantom Ruby, aka the thing on Infinite's chest. Eggman used the ruby to create copies of his badniks. But Zero managed to beat him and almost landed an attack on Eggman. Somehow Eggman thought it was a great idea to block the attack using the Phantom Ruby. And when Zero hit it, the ruby showed him a future that could be. Eggman took interest in Zero and decided to hire him to help him take over the world, and he agreed instantly, joining the Eggman Empire and becoming Infinite. So you see Zero, that guy who turned into Infinite? Gone.
Reduced to atoms.
And I will be replacing him with Sonic. For you see, I thought that the idea of Sonic Forces was to play with other characters other than Sonic. And only we get to play as Sonic for like the final boss. And then you can unlock him for replayability of all the levels, but as Sonic. So my story would go something like this. Sonic goes alone to fight Eggman. You play 2 stages before the first boss fight. Eggman made a new robot that uses the Phantom Ruby as its power source. The fight will be scripted as Sonic loses, and Sonic will get consumed by the robot. When that happens, Sonic's friends will finally have arrived. They will start fighting the robot, not knowing that Sonic is inside of it. The fight is so intense that the robot starts sucking more energy out of the Phantom Ruby, making it unstable. While Sonic is inside the robot, he decides to attack the ruby. But when he hits towards it, the ruby attaches to him, filling Sonic with all its power and anger. We see the ruby going through Sonic's memory and creating copies of every villain he ever fought. Or in that case, these 4. And then it will turn him into Dark Sonic. Yup, I'm doing all that to make Dark Sonic canon, baby! And I think this would make the story of how Infinite was created more cool, because you can't tell me that the idea of this random guy getting his ass kicked by Shadow and then turning into this is cool. The design is cool, but the story isn't. For the world mechanic, the player will have the ability to choose which area to clear first. This will make the world aspect of the game feel more like Sonic Colors, where you kinda had the ability to beat any world you want, in the order you want. And each area will have a character to play with. Classic Sonic will go after Metal Sonic. You will have 2 zones. Beating Zone 1 will make you fight the first boss, which will be a race between Metal Sonic and Classic Sonic, and the world will be falling from behind, instead of Eggman using his laser. Yes, I'm referencing Sonic CD. And then after beating Zone 2, you'll just battle Metal Sonic in the same style of Sonic against Blitz in Sonic Rush. Shadow will go after his copy. After beating Zone 1, Shadow will fight his copy in a racing style battle, where you can use Chaos Control to redirect the rockets that are aiming for you to hit the copy, like that one scene in the first movie. For the second boss, it will have 2 phases. The Ruby will start the first phase as Shadow, and when it drops below 50 HP, it will switch to the only one who has a chance of beating Shadow, aka Sonic. And remember this info, cause it will be important later in the video. Silver doesn't get much from the Sonic team, so he will be playable in this game, and I think Sega should do something like this. Any of their future games, they should add a zone or 2 where you can play as a different character, not just Shadow or Sonic, and note the community reaction to it. Maybe they'll love it, and maybe we could get a Silver the Hedgehog game. But for this video, Silver will go after Chaos. After beating Zone 1, he will fight Chaos Zero, using his "It's no use!" powers to try and trap Chaos using Wreckage. And for Zone 2, he will fight Perfect Chaos. And of course, since he isn't the real Perfect Chaos, Silver have an actual chance of beating it. To be honest, I hate Zavok. I never liked him, nor his game. And if it was for me, I would not remove him only from this game, but make him not canon to begin with. But for the sake of not changing the villains that are added in this game, I guess we're gonna make Tails go after him. And to be honest, I can't think of a cool way to make the boss fight, so I'll be skipping making a boss fight for him. Just use the boss fight that is already in the game or something. For every boss you defeat, you collect a shard from the Phantom Ruby that was powering these copies. After collecting 4 shards, Tails will discover that he can create a copy of the Phantom Ruby, which will be connected to Sonic, but this copy won't manifest villains that Sonic have fought. Since this copy has been put together by Tails, it will actually take the form of Sonic's best friend, aka Tails. This will unlock the last area of the map, which also will be 2 zones. But before I talk about the bosses in this area, I want to talk about Infinite's mask. When I looked up the reasons he wear that mask, it was just to look cool and to emphasize the idea that Infinite is a different person now. But meh, I didn't really like that idea much, so I'll be changing its reason. Infinite will not have a reflection, like a vampire. And if he is in front of a mirror, the reflection will show Sonic, which can actually hurt the Phantom Ruby and make it lose control over Sonic. So he wears the masks to hide the reflection, kinda like how it works with the Revenant in Apex Legends. For the first boss fight, it will just be like the first time you fight Infinite in the game, but instead of playing as Sonic, you'll play as Shadow, because it's cool. For the second boss fight, you'll get to play as the Phantom Ruby. You'll have the ability to change into different characters mid-fight, just like Sonic Heroes, which, let's be honest, would be really cool. And for cinematic reasons, for the final hit, the copy will turn into Super Shadow to deliver the last final blow. Something like Sonic Adventure 2. After Sonic gets saved, happy music plays, the camera cuts and shows the Phantom Ruby still being charged with Sonic's energy and forming in its own body that would look something more like the original Infinite design, hinting for Sonic Forces 2, aka Sega would make a lot of money out of this.